Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and privilege to introduce to you, well, I don't have to introduce him, is Joe Garagiola. How you doing? Joe Seppi.
Fine. I always feel good when I come back here and I'm back home.
And visit your roots.
Right.
I want to tell you something first off. Anytime I mention your name down here, when I go to the Bocce Club and talk to the folks down here, there's a gleam in their eye.
Great. That makes me feel good because this is where I grew up and this is still home, even though I live in Arizona. Spent a lot of time in New York, obviously, but this is it. This is where I grew up, and the hill will always be home.
Well, you know what my mother says? She says, Keith, when you get my age, she's 75, she says, when you get my age, there's nothing left but memories.
And pain.
And pain.
That's right.
A little arthritis.
A lot of arthritis, and if it wasn't for Advil, all of us over 70, we wouldn't make it. But we'll make it. We're going to make it.
Joe, tell us a little bit about your family, your mom and dad.
Well, obviously they were immigrants, and growing up here, everybody spoke Italian. I remember as a youngster coming to church, and you would hear the sermons in Italian. And then as a kid, you know, when we'd go to confession, Father Lupo was here then, and he'd have a line from here to Hampton Avenue, and poor Father Palumbo would have nobody because Father Lupo would run you out of confession in a hurry. But my parents came from a little town called Inveruno. And Mickey and I, my brother and I, and his wife and my wife, we were back there a couple years ago, and I still have an aunt back there, Pineta, and we visited with her. Santa Teresa, which is this month, is the big feast day, and I think my parents were typical of parents on the hill. It was take a bath on Saturday for the kids, go to confession, make the envelope out, go to church. Everything focused around the church and helping people. If there's one thing that I see in society today is that there wasn't that wanting to help people, your neighbor. I remember when we were kids, we had a widow, Domenica, and we would run errands for her, and it was almost part of our daily life. And it was nothing if your mother or your father got sick that guys would come over and visit, women would come over, what can I do, how can I help? And that's the one thing that I remember mostly about this entire wonderful place called the Hill, is that people were concerned about their neighbors. I think they were the epitome of love thy neighbor.
And that's what makes the community work, everybody pulling together, and I'm sure you had your good times. There was a lot of clubs back then.
Oh, the clubs, and that's why I think the Bocce Club is so great. We used to have all these clubs scattered around. We had a club called the Stags, and we were in a little shed back there in Paul Agosti's house and Aldo Rossi's house, and then there were the Vikings, and there were the Golden Panthers, the Hawks, the Rams. They were all over, and now with the Bocce Club, everybody is under one roof. And, you know, that's the thing, too. There were a lot of marvelous athletes here, great athletes. People, you know, they hear about Yogi, they hear about me, but we had some pretty good athletes. Yogi's brother, Lefty, was a tremendous hitter, and Diz Mariani and Lou Italiano. We used to idolize those guys. And then the soccer players never got the credit they should have gotten. The Charlie Columbos, the Gino Perianis, and the Frank Borghies, and people like that never got the credit they should have gotten. And then even the guys that played on the teams. I mean, I think of the Hawks and the Golden Panthers, what battles those used to be. And I think about guys like Angelo Old Danny, what a tremendous goaltender he was, and Tusky, Montani. A lot of great athletes in this neighborhood.
Well, it must have been a great time in your life, and you know, always come back down here to the Hill to get back in touch. Mickey was telling me that you guys used to walk over to Forest Park to play ball.
Well, that was the close one. In fact, when people ask me, you know, how did you and Yogi get started, we were sitting on my porch, just, you know, as kids would do, and Pete Fasani came by, and he told us about a baseball thing out at Sherman Park. You know how far Sherman Park is. That's way over there on east and way north by what used to be McBride High School. And he said, we ought to go over there and get some autographs. And we went over there, we got the autographs, and then we had like a little tryout, and they picked us. We'd go over there and play twice a week, Sherman Park, and that was a long, long way. Walking to Forest Park, that was a breeze.
Well, Joe, I want to give you something here. You know, on my show, every once in a while, the people down here on the hill love you.
Well, that's nice to hear, obviously.
But they love you everywhere, Joe. And, one of the things that Italian Americans have a hard time dealing with is the way they're portrayed in the movies, on television, on the radio.
Oh, I know. I fight it all the time. Every time there's like the trial that's going on now in Philadelphia, I get that hate mail. But that's not the real Italian. We're above that. We're above that. There's so many. My hero is my father. Just like a lot of these fathers who came over from a foreign country to a foreign country, not being able to speak the language to raise their family so that their kids would have a better life than they did. That's a real hero.
Absolutely. Before I give you this, Joe, somebody mentioned to me the other day, Charlie Fazio. In one of your books, you mentioned something about your mother yelling to the baker as he was delivering the bread.
Well, we talk about that, but I also talk in there. You talk about Fazio over there on the list?
Yeah, Charlie Fazio. Yeah, he's down on Sublet now.
Well, but there's the Fazio Bakery we used to go to. We used to go buy stale cakes. And every once in a while, he had those fresh ones there. When he went back to get the stale ones, we'd borrow one or two of them. And I remember him closing up that thing and chasing us with that thing that they used to use to put the bread in there.
Wow.
But Fazio's, that's a pleasant memory. Fossey's is everything on the hill here.
Well, now he's got toasted ravioli. I don't think he delivers to the houses anymore like that, but they got toasted ravioli is really great.
But Keith, all Italian ladies holler. But they don't mean anything.
No, that's part of the culture.
They're like they want to be the junkyard dog and they're the toy poodle. They'll bark and bark, but they love you.
This is a certificate of appreciation. We hereby express our sincere appreciation to Mr. Joseph Garagiola for maintaining a positive image of the Italian American, awarded at St. Ambrose Church, right where we're at, this 13th day of October, 1995, and it's signed by Antonino Lombardo of the Open Sierra, our Italian newspaper, and myself of our only Italian American television show in St. Louis.
Well, thank you very much. It makes me feel good to know that people feel that I portray a positive image. I want to, because I not only owe it to my family, I owe it to this wonderful place called The Hill.
Joe, your family. Your family.
Well,
especially to the people down here.
I want to be family. I want them to, when they see me, and I'm not on as often as I used to be, I want them to be proud of me. I don't want them to say, oh, that guy.
And everything you do to make your parents proud.
Well, that's why we're here.
That's right.
I mean, we're here for one reason. The notoriety that people get, that's passé. That's going to pass. That's like written on ice. What you really want is the true friendship of many, many years and growing up, and that's what I have here.
Well, Joe, God bless you. Thank you very much, and thank you for doing this interview with me, and I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out. I've enjoyed it, and I wish I could watch your show. I'd love it.
I'll send it to you. I'll give it to Mickey. He can forward it down there.
Okay, great, Keith.
Let's say arrivederci to everybody.
Arrivederci, everybody, and God love all of you.
Ciao.
Okay.